Welcome everyone to the GB3 Championship partnered by the BRDC. The heavens have opened, what else would you expect here at Spa? We are already underway and racing. We got slightly caught up. I will definitely not ignore that fact. We got slightly caught up because, of course, they began the race soon as the formation lap began, and John Jackson was still actually doing an interview, a pre-recorded interview with Abby Pulling. So we basically had to immediately jump on. I think it even caught them out, and we are already underway. And I cannot see one single thing, and I feel like we're going to need another red flag. I don't like the idea of running around for the sake of it. I mean, to me, it looks even worse as it stands at the moment. It looks even worse, and we're surely going to need a red flag any moment. And a red flag is what we've got. The red flags have been deployed. And yeah, they went out there, they tried to do something. It is not humanly possible to go racing. And red flag, the session will not start, is the update that we have been given. And there we go. There we go. Kind of expected that, didn't we? In terms of that we wouldn't even get much of a session going. I mean, credit to them for at least attempting. You know, they at least attempted to get this one underway, but there quite literally is no way. There is no possible way that we could have ran. And we're going to have a red flag out then. In the chat, I can see. Hello to Scara. Red flag. Basically, it's for the rain. The rain is quite bad. And I think quite bad does not sum it up, unfortunately. The rain is at a ridiculous level out there on the circuit. The drivers quite literally cannot see anything. So we're right now going to go to the red flags, understandably so. I was mentioning in the Freck broadcast earlier, it is especially just what we need at the moment. It's quite literally what we need. We have to also remember what happened here 3 years ago. And how race control that day got it wrong. That was the learning that we had from the Delano Van Toff accident. And they definitely don't want to have the same mistake again. I quite literally couldn't even see the conditions. I couldn't even see the cars out there on the circuit as they were making their way through some of the corners. Actually, we also go to Freck's Instagram. If you go to Freck's Instagram from earlier on this morning, there's you would think it's night from one of the posts that they put out. We're coming back to the pit lane. The session will not start, and basically we came on air just in case, as the GB3 themselves. But no, we're not going to be getting a start to this one, and it's another race that has been called off basically immediately. But I'm happy that these lot did not waste their time, and hopefully GB3 can actually reschedule it at some point later on this year, like GB4's race was. But yeah, they're not going to be able to do anything for this race. We do have another race coming up for GB3 later, and we've got another race coming up for Freck. Quick update on Freck, by the way. I believe the reverse grid race will be cancelled, and instead they're going to use the race 1 grid. So that's the way that's going to work. What a shame, though, for Abby Pulling, we have to say. First ever pole position in GB3, and she's not even going to get to take the lights for it. That is such a disappointment. After putting in all of the hard work yesterday when it came to qualifying 1, she will not be able to even take the lights and at least even have a chance to get going from that pole position. But she's demonstrated her pace, and she's going to get many of those chances across this year. And I mean, she starts 3rd on the grid for today's race too, I should say. So technically, she's always got a chance to attack from there and do something from that position. Is it worse than Spa 2021? I would say so. I would say, I mean, I'm trying to picture Spa 2021. We've had quite a lot of wet races around the circuit. That's the issue. I definitely compared it. I compared the Freck's conditions to even worse than what it was in 2023. I wasn't commentating on the race in 2023, so I think it's a bit unfair for me to comment specifically on that. But I do feel that the general reception from everyone was that it was quite bad, and it was like as bad, if not worse, than 2023, where we lost a driver. So we shouldn't be going racing at all. But yeah, I do think it's as bad. I think it is as bad as Spa 2021, if not worse. Because there is quite literally points where I can't see the circuit. But I think at Spa 2021, I zoned out a little bit out of it during the 6 hours. I don't think we're going to be getting any racing for a while. Now, there's more events on across today. I really doubt we're going to get, like, in terms of, it might be good enough by the time our races come around at the end of the day, but the concern is that there's so many events to happen, and there's also main events as well. I thought that Freck was originally the main event, but it seems like it's not. Because on the posters they put it as they put it kind of indicating like it's a headline by putting the Freck like big, but it seems like it's not the main event now. All of a sudden, I can't simply work out what is the main event, even though to me this does look like the main event. Freck and GB3, the headline events this weekend. Even then, I don't like with all the other races that are going to go on. Whatever the main event is, I'd assume that is what's going to get priority, and we're not going to get... We're meant to have 4 races today. If we can get one of them, I think we've had a good day in terms of our either GB3 or Freck races. We were meant to have 2 for Freck and 2 for GB3. If we can have one of any of them, I think we're going to be in, hopefully, for a good ending to the day. But that's only if the conditions will allow it. And they will not rush. I will tell you this, they will not rush it. Especially after what happened, as we mentioned 3 years ago, in these wet weather conditions. So, yeah, we are very much done, and to the end of another broadcast. We only came on air about 9 minutes ago, and we're already getting to done territory, which is absolutely wild. But it is sometimes just the way these conditions happen, and I think GB3 could reschedule it for another weekend. I feel like GB3 is the type of championship with that availability. If they wanted to, they could reschedule it for another weekend. But for now, I don't think we're getting anything at Spa. I'll definitely guarantee you that. Schedule is going to change, by the way. So on my social media, OmiComs, I will repost anything on my Instagram story, or you can go to my TikTok and I'll make sure I post a video before you go live. So it's OmiComs on TikTok, Instagram, and all of the social medias. So make sure you go and follow me there in order to be kept up to date with any schedule changes. Well, I mean, it's been good coming on air. I'll stay on for as long as the world feeds on, because I think that's only the right thing to do. But there isn't much that we could have done. I wonder whether GB3 will do the same, in terms of, would they cancel tomorrow's reverse grid and replace it with this race instead? I don't know. That's a bit of a wild idea, which, would they consider that? I mean, Abby Pulling would probably hope so. So, that's what Freck has done, by the way. The reason why I'm bringing that up, Freck's done it, in terms of they cancelled their... It works differently, because the next race for Freck is the reverse grid, so they've just cancelled the reverse grid, and the next race will be race 1. For GB3, they have race 2 later, which is as normal. They're not going to do anything with that, I'd assume. The race tomorrow, though, is the top 12 reverse grid. So I wonder, would they possibly try and cancel that to make sure that we get the main big points race in? I don't know. Just an idea, because Freck's done it. I don't know whether GB3 would do the same. But if GB3 rescheduled at some point, then we could always use this grid at another weekend. To some degree, couldn't we? There's a few possibilities, but I think we're going to need an announcement from the championship first of what their intentions are, whether it's going to be cancelled, whether it's going to be rerun. Because if they're going to rerun this race in some way, shape, or form, then I'd say, we don't need to then put it in place of the reverse grid. If we're going to run it at another weekend, then that's fine. Because tomorrow the weather's not looking good. today the weather's not looking good at all, even for it getting better and even for us having time to race, with a curfew at 6 PM, I think it is. Across the board, there's not a high likelihood if you reschedule anything this weekend, it's going to work. There's not a good likelihood that even if we run the scheduled races that we actually have, that we'd like even be able to actually reach like the rest of the races of the weekend, because there's not enough time. It's a jam-packed schedule, and it's a jam-packed schedule on a wrong weekend because there's too much on, and if there's any delays, everything gets affected. I would assume, I don't know where fracking GB3 would come on the hierarchy. It seemed like they were advertising it. In terms of Spa Euro, they were advertising it as a headline event, but I don't know. I don't think they are the headline event. I'm going to have to do a bit of digging, but it appeared like that they were the headline events. If they are the headline events, and if they are the main priority, then of course they're going to make sure, not necessarily reschedule them, because the thing is, the ruling on Freck is, unfortunately, the rulebook suggests if the race has got underway, you cannot do anything. That's the unfortunate thing. So I believe that is why. We couldn't really get going. We can't reschedule it or have that conversation full stop. Anyway, GB3 is done. I mean, the race control were very quick with just immediately red flagging it and suspending it. It was only just so they could go out there just in case if the conditions would have allowed it and get this race underway. Unfortunately, that is not going to be possible, and we are going to be leaving you now. Thank you very much for joining us for these 13 minutes. Sorry to bring you bad news once again. Another cancellation for you. Freck Race 1, GB3 Race 1. Can Race 2s happen? Well, effectively now Race 1's they will be later. Well, who knows? All we can say is, thank you very much for sticking with us, and join us later on. Keep an eye on Omicomms on social media to see any updates on any schedule adjustments. But for now, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later on. From Spa, it is goodbye.